Rovers take on Watford this coming weekend over at Vicarage Road. Can Rovers get themselves a cheeky little away win, or will Watford stand in their way? We're going to take a look at that and much more next. That's right, folks, back once again with another video. Today we take a look at Watford up against Rovers at Vicarage Road. Can Rovers make it back-to-back away wins, or will Watford snatch all 3 points? We've chatted with a Watford fan earlier in the week. We're going to hear what he has to say about the Hornets' chances this coming weekend, but we'll get to that in a second. If you knew where you've been, hit the old subscribe. You want to subscribe for Blackburn Rovers, Buffalo Bills, Watford Rovers. We're going to all here under one rooski. That's right. So sit tight, hold on. We're going to bring him on right here, right now, and he's going to tell us all his hopes and expectations for this season and the match coming at you this weekend.
Hey Rovers fans, it's James here from the Watford Way, and I've been given the task to answer a few questions ahead of our clash at Vicarage Road this weekend. How would I assess the Watford transfer window this summer? Good, bad, or ugly? I think for me, the transfer window as a whole, and of course I don't speak for the whole Watford fan base here, but I feel it's been pretty exceptional, both in terms of incomings, outgoings, but most importantly, the players we've been able to retain at the club, our prized assets, if you will, in Imran Louza, Geordie Shakpatatse and Kwadwo Bar. And according to the club, they've been subject to some pretty large offers from bigger teams this summer, but to retain them and add key players and squad depth, for me, is a real positive. So as a whole, I would rate the window a solid 8 out of 10. You look at some of the incomings we've been able to attain in Nestri, Iran Kunda, Hector Kiprianu, Mark Boller. Those are just a few of the standout additions this summer. And to let go what you would call dead wood at the club and bring in quite significant transfer fees, once again, is a real positive for me. So definitely a marked change this summer from what we've seen in previous seasons. And I think the whole Watford fan base really is feeling quite positive ahead of the season to come. Which Watford player am I most excited about seeing more this season? I think for me, there is only one clear answer here. It's Nestri Iran Kunda, the 19-year-old Australian wonder kid we signed from Bayern Munich for £2.5 million. 3 goal contributions in 4 championship appearances so far. He has been absolutely exceptional, both in that false 9 position behind our number 9 Luka Kiramgard and out wide on that right-hand side as well. For me, he has the potential to go on to be a world-class talent, and to have him at Watford, for me, is a real coup in the transfer market. And I'm sure some of you guys would have seen his free kicks against Swansea and Southampton. Some real moments of individual quality. So Nestri Irankunda is my player to watch this weekend. Next question. Was there any players I was sad to see leave Watford this summer? There was actually one player in particular I was quite gutted about leaving, and that was Ryan Andrews, the right back who had come through the Watford Academy, the first player in a number of years really to demonstrate the pathway between the 18s, the 21s and that first team environment. And to see him leave was really quite upsetting. Actually, the club released quite a nice video from the dressing room after our last game before the international break, where Ryan said goodbye to his teammates and the Watford staff who helped him along that journey. But I did feel it was time for him to go. He had regressed as a player within the past couple of seasons, and ultimately he's going on to play at one of Switzerland's best teams in young boys, and they're playing Europa League football this season, and Watford have attained a €3 million transfer fee. So I think this one works well for all parties, but sad to see Ryan leave nonetheless. New manager, what is my assessment on our new coach? Yeah, a real interesting question to dive into, and I probably don't have the time to go into real detail today, but when it comes to our system that we play, especially compared to last season under Tom Cleverley, there really is actually quite a marked change, especially when it comes to the fullbacks and how high they're willing to push in possession. They invert quite heavily inside the pitch as well, almost playing as number 10s at times. So that's the real key difference in the system. Paulo himself seems quite adaptable and able to change depending on the opposition we face as well. We started the season against Charlton with a 4-3-3. We've switched at times to a 4-2-3-1, or also a 5 and 3 at the back as well, depending on the in-game scenario. So yeah, what I've noticed so far is adaptability. His substitutions have question marks over them at times, but we are only a few games into the season, and as we approach the Christmas period, if he makes it that far, of course, knowing what our owner is like, I'm sure we'll have a better idea then. But so far so good. 3 games unbeaten, and hopefully 4 once we finish with you guys this weekend. All right, the big question: what team will I select for this game? Now, given the injuries we still apparently have and the suspension to Imran Louza, I do think Paulo will probably once again go for the 3 centre-backs. So, in goal, for me, the undisputed number 1 at Watford is Egil Selvik. He's been outstanding since he arrived from Udinese in January. He should retain his place in goal for this game. The 3 centre-backs most likely will be Max Alleyne, James Abankwah and Kevin Caben. Max Alleyne joining this summer for Manchester City. He's looking to gain more professional experience. We have just signed a new addition as well for Moza Mendy. I'm sure he's getting up to speed during the international break. I'm unsure if Paulo will go for him straight away in this game, however. The 2 fullbacks will be Mark Boller and most likely Jeremy Ngakia. But as I just mentioned, we do have a new player in that right back position. Ryan Andrews has gone to Switzerland, and we've signed Jeremy Patrice from Charleroi in Belgium. So Ngakia and Patrice competing for that right wing back slot in this game. The midfield 3 are most likely going to be Hector Kyprianou, Musa Sissoko and Edu Kayembe. We still have a couple of injuries in that area of the pitch to Pierre Duomo, Georgi Shafatatse, and as mentioned, Imran Louza will be serving the final game of his 3-match suspension for his red card. So the midfield will be Hector, Musa and Edu Kayembe. And the 2 up top that have worked well so far this season will be our Danish number 9, Luka Kiramgaard, and Nestri Irankunda in that floaty role just behind him. So that would be my Watford starting 11 this weekend. Score prediction time. I've got to go big. I've got to go bold. I've got to go positive. I got my last prediction right, actually. I went 2-2 against Southampton. That, of course, transpired at full time. So this weekend, I'm going to go 3-1 to the Hornets. I've given you guys a goal, but I do think we may have too much for you. And reading what some of your fans have been saying on social media, it looks like the transfer window hasn't been as successful as you would have hoped, losing a few key players, of course, in Dominic Hyam and Lewis Travis as well. So 3-1 to the Horns is my prediction this weekend. Thank you so much for having me on.
Appreciate that. Thanks for getting up a bit of your time. And of course, if you want to watch me watch that game, that's of course coming at you this coming weekend as well. Fingers crossed, of course. I'm going to be on the road. I'm going to be literally landing or not touching down, or not even touching down, parking the car as, of course, we kick off. So it'll be a tight one, but the plan is to be there. So hopefully we'll have that. And of course, hopefully you'll join me. But of course, make sure you subscribe, smash the like. I'll see you soon whenever you return. But until then, I'll return. I'm out.